starting to record. All right. I am going to start. I think it would be good to have the QBR integration like once a quarter. Just like June is the end of Q2, so
Yeah.
right now people should be preparing for their quarterly meetings. And if we can do that, then then like at the end of February, at the end of June, at the end of like each quarter, we've got it ready to go.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that,
They're always our most popular webinars is when people QBR
yeah,
prep.
and we do need to get it up, in front early because, you know, I know this personally, but I keep hearing all the feedback that tells me it's true. Um, Getting the meetings scheduled is sometimes the hardest part. So, I mean, if you're waiting till the end of June to do a June QBR, you're screwed.
Just promise to bring beer. It works every time.
That'll work.
Oh, so really what I wanted to cover here was QBR integration with depending on if you're a humanized client or you're a MSPO client looks pretty much the same.
Hmm.
What is nice is that for people who already got their architecture stuff done in first quarter and are now working on service, this is where QBR has become magical because now you're starting to tie together differing data sets and allowing your customers to see a bigger picture.
Yeah.
And then next quarter, you'll build on that bigger picture with your clients. So if you follow the quarterly schedule we have set in front of you, you can and will achieve success throughout the year. It'll just continually build and your confidence will build as you get to the end. So in this particular community update, I forgot to get my screen up and running because I was in a conversation before this. But when you share over here.
Yeah. So, as we go into this, everyone needs to really know that, continuity and consistency have a whole lot of value. And so, the things that we talked about in Q1, as we're circling back around to these folks in Q2, to have the same conversation, but pick up where we left off, still talk about strategy, alignment of their technology. When we have these conversations, quarter after quarter after quarter, for one, they get easier. They get easier to prepare for, they get easier to conduct. But two, they also get more valuable. The clients see what you're trying to do. They see where you're trying to align, what's going on in their environments. And so these provide more and more value over time.
Yep. So, this particular session, what I want to show you guys is it's kind of like game theory. So you have sold your client on this stable service plan when you onboarded them. Then every year you want to talk to them about what else can you be doing or what else do they need. And so if you start off by doing an architecture audit, like we talked about first quarter, and look at our history videos, and you can see that, you'll see that the architecture videos talk about that environment. Now you can show them like here is additional architecture things they can have in place, such as Office 365, and they can move to managed PCs and all this other stuff. But now in the second quarter, you finish that conversation, you've got those projects done for your architecture, and now you're ending the second quarter saying, hey, now that we have this upgraded environment, here's some of the services that you're underutilizing, or here's some of the extra services that you can use. And so what I have is the strategic business review up here for Skip's Joe's Trucks. And so we're sitting in this phase where we're getting to where we can do business alignment because now we have services and architecture together.
Yeah.
So you've done the technology audit, you've done road mapping, and now you're augmenting. The difference between this on an annual basis where you're doing all three audits together is that you're doing these things just one piece at a time in each quarter. So this little roadmap here now focuses on, hey, what did we do this quarter? Okay, did we do a business alignment? Yes, it's in our strategy document we have open right here. Did we get our technology audit? Yes, we got that done. Did we do road mapping for technology? Yes, and here's where we are. Now let's talk to them about how we're going to make it better. So in the service quarter, it's, did we do the business alignment? Yes, we got it down here. Did we do the service audit? Yes, we completed that. Okay, now how does this change the roadmap? And so now you have this conversation. So if you're not doing this on an annual basis, I do have a quarterly view in here somewhere.
It's revealed up there too. Yep.
It is. um, and you, if it's not up here, then you guys will see it down in the appendices. Just go check that. But you'll see the same thing. So here we're reviewing what have we done so far. So far, for those of you following the HIT perspective, you've done the architecture audit. And now you're looking at the annual, what were we planning on getting done this year? And we're coming in saying, okay, did we get everything done in that architecture audit? Anything that you wanted implemented, was it done in Q2? You're reviewing that Q2 activity. Now we're heading down to Q3. What's going to happen up in Q3? Hey, we did the service audit. We know there were some gaps in your coverage, which is why some of your employees feel frustrated. And so now you cover that. You say, hey, we would like to adjust the business plan to this. Can we add on managed PCs? Can we reduce you down to 8x5 monitoring rather than 24/7? Or can we increase to 24/7 so we can help Karen, who keeps calling us 10 o'clock at night because that's when her shift starts? So this is now what you're doing for Q2. And then as you walk down and you have updated your executive summary with any service discrepancies there were, any service gaps that you had. And if you look at our previous videos for this quarter for the community, you'll see all of our tips on what kinds of services and what kind of gaps are there. So we talked about dog kennels, and we talked about how you got to understand their business so you can understand, hey, service wise, they're more interested in somebody who can do live streaming. And what kind of services do you provide? So at this point, who on your team or what kind of services do you have that will support live streaming? Hey, we'd like to add a live streaming support package onto your existing account. So that gets put into the executive summary here. And you'll see that this has grown because now you'll have a services audit down here, and it'll have some score. You will not have a cybersecurity review yet. You'll have these three at this point, and you'll be growing along here as you've completed things. And your project roadmap may have grown a little bit as you completed these things. So we did the service audit in Q2, and then we're going to do the risk audit in Q3. And so now you're creating a picture for them. One of the things that people often skip is when you come down here, you'll see, have you done your service audit? Yes, we've done it now. It is completed.
Now, this is a little bit different application of the assessment engine than what we normally do. In the strategic business review, we have this set up so that we are measuring progress over time. Now, typically when we use the assessment engine in the tool, we're doing a complete assessment. You know, we're doing an architecture or services or risk. But we've tweaked the tool a little bit here, and I really like this in the strategic review here, because we get to go down here and we get to say, yes, we've done this. Yes, we've done this. No, these are the things out there. The cybersecurity assessment is still, ahead of us in the year. And so we have this great mechanism to have a conversation with our clients so that we're showing progress. Hey, this is where we're going over time. This is what we're going to get done this year. And then you have a great opportunity come next January, reset all these. All right, go back and start this again. And so your clients are constantly seeing, hey, we have a plan for the year. And then when we get to the end of the year, we'll have a score. And we can say, hey, you guys, you canceled on me 3 times, and, we got hit by a snowstorm or whatever. And so we didn't get, the Q3 meeting done. Our score is lacking this year. And we just have a great opportunity to communicate with our clients.
And it's okay because, like, for instance, in this situation, we're doing our second quarter QBR right now. Did we hold it? Yes. So we see the score go up. Did we complete a service test? Yes. Did we do our risk test? No, because we haven't done a risk audit yet.
There you go.
Notice there's a gap here. And that's okay because that gives us room for improvement next year. You have to be honest about it so you can show improvement. And then when your client sees that, what are we doing third quarter? Like, hey, I need to schedule the third quarter QBR. Is it scheduled? A check mark next to it. And then these architecture tests, are there any? What are you going to do? risk task. Now, third quarter, your risk task is to do an audit. And that is what we scheduled on the project timeline there. Service tasks, anything that gets approved this week in this meeting goes on this list. And so you will check that as you go through here so that next quarter, when you have your third quarter QBR, you'll move these over just like I did a few minutes ago.
Yep.
And it's okay if you have a gap. If you're unable to meet because blizzards and schedule conflict stuff, then you put a gap there.
Yep.
That's okay. You want that because then when you come up here for next year, you're going to be able to compare when you do a snapshot of where were you last year and where are you this year. So you can see we're growing and we're coming along in the strategic business review. We're getting there. We're going to get to an 81 by the end of the year.
And now
We're just not there yet.
Don't minimize the value of these scores. Right? Your clients like to have these scores. I hear it over and over again. I've experienced over and over again. Having these scores is a great tool. It's not, well, what is it? It's a number, okay? But it's a number that allows us to talk, objectively about what we're trying to manage. And I would encourage you, those sections that Adam was going over just a second ago, and saying, oh yes, we've done this for Q2. Yes, we've checked out this. No, we don't have these done because of this. Whatever. Do those in the engagement with your clients. Allow them to see the scores change. Allow them to see the progress. There is, again, a real value in going through some of those items and with your clients saying, yes, we've got this done. Yes, we've got this done. It kind of goes back to the MSP's age-old problem that we all face, because when we do our jobs right, inevitably our clients go, why are we paying you? And so if we go through this process and they see, oh, these guys are doing things for me. We're meeting, we're talking strategy about my business. Yes, we're making progress. It's one of the elements that will help cement that value that your clients have in the services that you're providing.
Yeah. And so when I tell people, when you are talking to your clients, have this up, pin this back, have this up on your projector, have this up on your screen, or give them a handout with this on it. So
Don't give them a handout.
So they can see what they're doing.
Handout's a last resort.
Last resort.
Yeah.
We love the dynamicness of this. They say, you know what? The new communication stuff, let's push that off till next year. Okay, no problem. And that, like, having them do that, and then that still is a recommendation. But now we're doing the risk audit. That is planned to do. We already did the service audit, so that is completed. And then we want to get that new quoting system that is now going to happen in Q4. We haven't quite planned it, but it has been approved by our clients. So you can start marking these things down here while you're in midst of the conversation, and that's what's going to make you sticky, because now they know that you're managing their project scope and everything that's coming up. They can see all the stuff you're going to be doing, so that increases perceived value. So we have all of these terms, these things that you need to do, and we're not just walking through a QBR for the sake of doing a checklist. We're now doing a QBR because it's showing value and it's helping us gather data about our client and what they want done. And so if you need, like, a lot of the common questions with a QBR is, what do I talk about in the QBR? If you do not know what to talk about, one, get a meeting with Skip or I. Two, you can follow this agenda here. It works really well. People who follow this strict agenda find out that they don't get off topic very often. That they tend to stay on topic and they tend to get a lot done. And so having this kind of look and feel in your meetings is going to make your customers feel more confident in you, as well as give you things to talk about. Going through things, going through last quarter, going through next quarter, gather consensus, get approvals, and then run the plan for the next quarter, so that your clients constantly see it. If they need to see the narrative, you've got this. This is a great handout if you ever need one, but you can also share this via the share option at the top. So you can hide all of these sections. You go through and hide all of them except for let's hide that, let's leave that in there.
Yeah. So,
so now you can share this rather than creating a handout.
and do the public share. Now, some of the things that
I
we
use
hear
this off too.
sometimes
Can avoid
about
it.
about printing, and yes, I understand the need. Sometimes it's the worst case scenario when we print and the printing looks poor. All right, it's just the layouts don't always work. Remember, the analogy here is trying to print a YouTube video. Okay, it's not going to go very well, and that's the same dilemma that we have with this report. This report is meant to be live and engaging, so it's not going to print well. But in those cases that we do, minimize everything except the very specific content that you need to share. And then when you create that PDF, it will look much better.
Yeah, and if you use the quarterly agenda, so for instance, I'm going to take this out. I'm going to move it down there. You use the quarterly agenda and you take notes down here. Leave that in the share. If you do not take notes during the quarterly agenda, go ahead and take it out.
Yep.
And then what happens is at the end of the meeting, when you conclude, the last thing you're going to do after you've assigned action plan to individuals, after you've gotten marked, you've updated the projects like I showed you, you're going to go to the top and you're going to public share this thing and ask who in the room, who needs a copy of this? And you're going to create an email and you're going to send this link out to as many people as possible, because this link is super handy and looks really professional. They're going to love this. They're going to go down through this, and this executive summary that you spend all that time on at the beginning of the year is going to help them get context. This little visuals here, they're going to be able to show their CFO or the CEO, hey, here's where we are. And then they look really good to their owners. And so you not only are you looking good to them, but they're taking this and showing their boss, hey, look, this is where we are. They can't edit this right now, but they can show this beautiful stuff. Like, hey, here's the breakdown of that scorecard. Here's all the deliverables we're going to get out of that. So they can go back to their CFO. They can go back to the CEO and get justification for their purchases. And you've given them a tool to look really good. And I guarantee you, oops, I left the annual activities checklist in there. But I guarantee you, if you make your point of contact look good at an organization, they will never get rid of you. And they're going to be very likely to say yes, because they're going to want this look and feel when they go talk to their boss and justify why they should be giving you guys an extra $20,000. And then you might hit a spot where the CEO says, wow, this looks really cool. I want to be in the next meeting.
Yep.
This is one of the most powerful parts of your QBR, is at the very end, sending this to the people on the list so they can review it, and then they can show it off to other people in their office about how cool they are and how great things are going. The usual ones I get shared with me are a stack of papers talking about Active Directory and service styles. No one has ever given me, in my history of working with MSPs and small businesses, has ever given me a project roadmap as well as an identification of scores throughout the environment. Ever. I didn't even get this in the corporate environment. And we spent hundreds of thousands of dollars a month on this stuff. And so what I would like to see is for you guys to deliver this stuff and find out this aha moment where you're like, oh my gosh, my client loves this. It looks so good for him or her as they talk to the CEO, and encourage them, like, use this in your presentations when you go back to work. Because if you get a larger office, if you get a company that's around 300 employees as a client, they have to give quarterly reports. They have to stay in front of their division and give a report. If they have this in front of them, and now they look good.
That's it.
And you've made them the hero. Skip, you have something more to say about that?
No, that's great. I mean, it just, and this consistent delivery, I want to reiterate that consistency in and of itself, it sounds maybe a little odd, or I don't know.
Boring is good.
Yeah. I mean, just being able to consistently show this, have a contiguous sort of meeting intervals with your clients. There's just a tremendous value in setting that. And I know that's kind of hard for you to adopt sometimes if you're not doing that. And I'm promising you the future, right? This is the pie in the sky stuff, so to speak. I know that, but I just want to encourage you sticking with this will pay off. You will see the value in that as you meet frequency over
And
frequency over frequency.
and I know what people think it's not an empty promise here. Like this is what we consistently hear from other members of the MSPL community is
Absolutely.
like, oh man, I wish I knew it was this easy in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to make it too complicated. I was trying to overthink it. Like, no, it's this literally this easy. It's a 60-minute conversation once a quarter, and it will net you more than you can possibly imagine. I know some of you have pretty big imaginations, but I'm saying, like, if you are not meeting quarterly with your client, like this is very simple. This was 15 minutes of prep time for the meeting. It took an hour to do the audit. Done.
Yep.
And you're done for a year on services. Next quarter, you'll do your risks, and you're done for a year. Like an hour work a quarter per client will net you enough money to hire full-time employees to do this for you all the time.
Yep.
So get on this. Try it with clients. Your biggest thing is to get this scheduled with a client. If you don't believe that this is going to work, if you think it's a bunch of pie in the sky, then what I want you to do is I want you to schedule one client, which you know you have a good relationship with, and deliver this report with them and ask them to rate you 1 to 10 on the end. How was that? And you're going to see a significant difference in client engagement.
Yep.
That's it. QBR, Q2 QBRs. We are getting ready to see some really cool stuff going on. We are heading into Q3. You got to be prepared for that Q3. It's going to be a fun ride this year as everybody's budgets are going to ramp up by the end of the summer.
Yep.
You're going to see some significant purchases before the end of this year.
I agree.
IT spend is expected to go up in insane amounts by the end of this year. So let's get on that horse. Let's get and show our clients that we are the professionals that they want to work with. Give us some feedback on how we can improve this and make this better. And we will see you next week.
Sounds great. See ya.